Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Today, interesting day, important day. I made you aware earlier in the week that on Thursday and Friday we would likely see increased volatility. I think that forecast at least has come true so far, in that we have seen quite a bit of volatility yesterday. Not too much, but at least more than we've seen in many of the recent weeks, on most days. But why was that the case? Why did we forecast additional volatility? Again, yesterday, Jerome Powell had a speech as well as GDP data was released. And today, core PCE, the Fed's favorite inflation metric, is going to be released today, 8:30 Eastern time. So that's going to come out today and could increase, again, volatility a little bit. So we're going to talk about that possibly in a live stream. I will probably schedule that after this video. Anyway, the situation overall on the larger time frame, the situation is unchanged, but I want to express again what's happening here at the moment. Okay, so obviously we're tracking an overall bullish scenario here. Please understand that most people, or generally there split opinions. Okay, a lot of people think the bear market is still here. A lot of people think we're going higher. But I would say there are a lot of people who still think the bear market is still here, but they might want the bull market to come back. And then movements like yesterday, they will just cause them to jump onto the train, over-positioned, over-leveraged. You know how it works. That's what retail traders typically do. So they typically risk too much, they chase movements. And we've had that in recent months all the time, which is why I adopt a very, very cautious approach. And that has helped us in recent months a lot, and it has helped us not to make any wrong decisions and not to draw any wrong conclusions. I've been saying it for a while now, that to confirm that a low has been established here on the 11th of September and that we are going higher towards the 40 to 50k region, and we are tracking overall a bullish scenario. The question is just, was the low in or not? That's why on this daily chart, we've got it with a question mark. Okay, low is already in, but I will not be able to complete it until I have 5 waves up and 3 waves down. That's all I can say. And then I have to leave it with you to do what's right for you. Certainly the potential is here that the low is in. Now, if you feel comfortable taking a position based on an assessment like that, where it cannot be confirmed, that's of course up to you, right? This is where trading, investing, and analysis differs. For me, I want to see 5 waves up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 3 waves down on this time frame, possibly touching the 30k region, maybe going a little higher, then coming back maybe to round about 26k, 27k again, to take an aggressive futures long position. This is for me a decent setup. It's always worth waiting for setups like these and not get too caught up in the microstructures, okay? Because really nothing has changed since middle of August on this chart. This is still the setup. I've been talking about that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and this is the one that I wait for to confirm that a low has been established. That hasn't changed. To make that one more likely, Bitcoin first needs to break above 27,480, and it hasn't even done that, okay? So to keep it very, very simple. Obviously, this here could also turn into some kind of a triangle, B-wave triangle, okay? Or the B-wave could simply extend, which is 5 waves up, okay? Because A wave, B wave, and then 5 waves up in the C wave to complete this B wave, and then we could still break down, which is why I say I need to see 5 waves up and 3 waves down, holding a higher low, not just 5 waves up. That could just be a high B wave. So that's what we need to be very much aware about. And please consider the psychology in these markets. I mean, a lot of people will have chased this move, but this approach, even though it might get on people's nerves, it has hopefully helped a lot of people not to make the wrong decisions, because here, a lot of people got bullish, but I highlighted to you, we need to see 5 waves up here as well, here as well. Now, we never saw these, therefore we constantly focused here on lower prices, which was the right approach, and lower prices came true. And to be honest, if you look at this move up doesn't really differ in any significant way from this or from this. It looks so similar, okay? Very much like a 3-wave structure at the moment to the upside. Now, I'm not saying it couldn't get 5 waves up. I'm just saying I want to see them first, and then we can look for the 3-wave pullback for a decent trade setup. Anything in between, I think you're just burning your fingers. Yeah, I see that every day in the comments where people take, I don't know what, taking very short-term trades, which of course in the current market is very much the chop. It's a choppy market. We're basically in the range. Yeah, if you're a range trader, you can do that, right? But Elliott Wave works best in trends, and the best trending move will be after 5 waves up, we get the decent pullback. Yeah, most Elliott Wave traders are waiting for 1-2 setups because they allow for the best reward to risk ratio and are the lowest risk trades. Pullbacks in an uptrend are always the lowest risk trades in general. So that's what I'm waiting for. My approach, I've mentioned many times, I buy the red days in my spot portfolio. Yeah, just buying them with very, very careful position sizing. Yeah, holding cash aside for still lower prices, which still can happen. Okay, and then basically waiting for those 5 waves up and 3 waves down. Someone asked me how I trade yesterday in the comments, so this is how it is, right? Trading basically the daily or weekly time frame, scaling into support on days where we have setbacks to build a decent core position. It's basically my core trading position for a 3rd wave rally. Basically, you could argue it's trading the daily or the weekly time frame for higher prices in a 3rd wave. And then I will take a futures long trade once we have the 5 waves up and 3 waves down. I'm happy with the structure. This is sort of how I do this. Then if a good altcoin setup comes up, I will take that as well. But there are not many good altcoin setups, at least not on the long side. Okay, yeah, there have been plenty short trade setups in recent weeks, and we have come down lower considerably. Now let's go to the lower time frame. I am not changing anything yet. So the situation is still that the yellow wave count, as long as we are below 27,480, is the preferred option that could take us lower in the coming weeks. But obviously, as explained already in yesterday's videos and on Discord and Telegram, we are now a little bit in the gray zone between, okay, are we still going down or are we actually working on the white wave count? At the moment, I wouldn't do anything. We're now in the in-between space, which isn't very clear. So it's about to invalidate the yellow wave count, which points to the downside, but it's not yet clearly the white wave count. So there is no setup I see at the moment here, okay? We're still pushing higher. We don't have a clear top in place anywhere. Yeah. So we still have this trend line in place I showed you yesterday where we said, okay, as long as this trend line is holding, it probably keeps climbing. So that never broke. So we never had a top signal in place. If you see that break, maybe it's the first signal. And then as explained yesterday, the first signal, yeah, that this uptrend is failing and that we're dealing here with a failed breakout, that's basically at $26,700, the 50% retracement level. If that level breaks, I will assume that this move up has failed and we're coming down in a 3rd wave, okay? But it's a bit of a wait and see, waiting for a clear setup right now. So I think that should be very clear. The levels are very clear. Yeah, we've got 27,480 as key resistance point. Above that level, the yellow wave count will get less likely even. And above the end of August high, the yellow wave count will be invalidated. Then we will wait if the white wave count fills in. Depending on the structure, we might make a call if this is rather a high B wave, as I showed you in the beginning, or an impulse. Yeah, wave 1 maybe, leading the next impulse. And then we can look for the wave 2 pullback zone, which will be suitable for most people, I think, to take a long trade if they want to. Everything here is just a chop. Yeah, you get caught up in the chop if you try to trade this. But I've mentioned that before. For most people, this is just not the market to try to trade the smallest time frames. But I'm not telling you what to do, right? I'm just showing you potential setups or trend reversal areas, yeah, where the price has a chance to turn around. But if they break, yeah, then this is a signal that things are changing. So actually had a comment, someone commented that we shouldn't focus so much on the 30-minute chart, which I did in recent days because we could recognize the structure quite well because of all these invalidations. Well, that comment comes from 2 misconceptions. The first misconception, I'm sure most people have that misconception. I need to clear that up. I say that many times. We have a lot of educational content on Discord. If you're interested in learning more about that and how to approach these wave counts, check out our membership. But The misconception is that many people treat these wave counts on smaller time frames as predictive primarily. They are not, and I've mentioned that many times. They are not predictive. We use the microstructures, yeah. I mean, larger time frames are more predictive than the smaller time frame wave counts, but a 30-minute wave count, yeah, on Bitcoin has limited predictive qualities. It has predictive powers, but they are limited, yeah. We use it predominantly to identify the pivot points, yeah. And when the pivot points break, it tells us that the trend might be changing. Okay, so that is not a weakness of the analysis if they break. It is, you need to imagine, it's like a trend line that breaks. What does a trend line that breaks tells you? It's what you're waiting for, basically. You basically wait for a trend line to break to understand maybe that a top is in place. You wait for a trend line to, you wait for a pattern to break to understand that a downtrend has started. The same way you're waiting for a fib level to break to tell you that things are changing, okay? I think most people need a bit of a mindset shift here. These smaller time frame wave counts, they are not so much predictive. They give you a guide path and they tell you which conditions need to be fulfilled so that you're on the right side of the trade, but they don't tell you, oh, the price will turn around here, right? So, you know, when you're trading the smaller time frames, you need to use more than just Elliott Wave. But I mentioned that many times. Still, though, from an analysis point of view, extremely valuable because they tell us exactly when things are changing, and they are exactly the hints that we need to understand when the chart moves from a more clear situation into a less clear situation and possibly a trend shift. Okay, so those invalidations are extremely valuable. They are what we need actually for the Elliott Wave method. So focusing less on it wouldn't be very helpful. Now, the problem lies in the people applying it. But you just need to make sure that you have your own trading plan, okay? You can't trade purely on Elliott Wave on a 15 or 30-minute chart. You need to know what trades to take. You can do it, but then don't be surprised if the levels break, okay? So I always highlight when we have a reliable, let's say, long trade setup, and that would be here a 5-wave move up and a 3-wave move down. I'm pointing that out for many weeks. But also we had some decent short trade setups here, yeah, and they worked. One broke yesterday, the microstructure, but again, it was on a 15-minute chart, so you have to be prepared for something like that in crypto. But you know, it's just, what are we talking about? I mean, you know, support levels break, resistances break. That's what they do, right? All day, every day on all time frames. So that's just normal. But yeah, just don't treat these as predictive and see it as valuable information if Fibonacci levels break. That's just important knowledge and important information that we need as analysts to be able to understand where we are in the cycle and if adjustments are needed in the projections. Yeah, without those adjustments, the analysis would be static and would not reflect what the market is actually doing, which it needs to do. Okay, yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. So I think today we have to expect a little bit more volatility due to core PCE. That's going to be interesting. And as I said, you know, we wait for a little bit of clarity because we're sort of in that annoying in-between space here at the moment. Okay, that's my update about Bitcoin. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and also make sure that you check out the membership if you're interested in additional content, like, for example, weekly live streams, learning materials about Elliott Wave, trading, technical analysis, risk management, and so on. You can find that all on Discord and Telegram. You get access to our TradingView live charts and much more. As a gold member, you get access to additional market updates, which can be very helpful on days like yesterday to understand, you know, what are the relevant levels and if anything has changed. Okay, that's my update. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.